Your statement the other day after there was this incident in Newark, you said they better not touch our members.
Correct.
What happens if they were to go and arrest these members, or if they would try to sanction them here in the House of Representatives?
They'll find out.
What would you do, though?
They'll find out.
What recourse? But doesn't that broach a...
They'll find out.
Doesn't that go across...
That's a red line.
What's the red line, though? I know we have this...
It's a red line. It's very clear.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we are headed over to New Jersey. We haven't been to Jersey in a while, but I have to head back over there. Why is that? Because the crazed DNC lunatic LaMonica McIver has officially been charged with assault on a federal agent, an ICE agent, to be more specific. This is a good day. She has been charged. This is something that we all voted for and that we all want, is for everyone to be held to the letter of the law. No one is above the law, so she should be held accountable. But what's so hilarious that we're going to see and unpack today is all of the excuse making and the whining and spinning of narratives and victim splaining behind this situation, right? So that's what I really want to get into today, because apparently McIver is the one that's being targeted, despite the fact that she's on video balling up her fists, literally punching federal agents in the back while their back is turned. But some way, somehow, she's the one being targeted. So let's get into this first clip here, man. We're going to unpack a few things and talk about this. I want to jump into this first from NBC New York. Let's hear what they have to say on this clip here.
Now, this all started on May 9th when Mayor Ras Baraka and several congresspeople went to Delaney Hall for an oversight visit, saying that they were aware ICE recently reopened a closed detention facility, but ICE didn't have up-to-date certificate of occupancy, and they wanted to make sure the facility was up to code. At one point, you can see on video ICE agency walk outside of the gates on a public property to detain Mayor Baraka. The mayor is shielded by two congresswomen. The Department of Homeland Security released a new video claiming that Congresswoman LaMonica McIver pushed ICE agents as they tried to arrest Baraka. That's why they say that now, nearly 2 weeks later, that she's facing a charge of assaulting a federal agent. Keep in mind, at the time of the mayor's arrest, Congresswoman McIver was never detained, never arrested, or charged with anything, but instead she was brought inside the facility and given an hour-long tour of the facility where she was able to speak with some of the people being held inside. Now, McIver releasing a...
Okay, so now we'll get into her statement in a moment. Let's unpack this to get to the facts of the matter, right? So we really understand what's going on here. Congressmen and women have the legal authority to visit an ICE detention center unannounced. They can do that. Now, protocol is for you to give the ICE detention center 24 hours notice, obviously for your safety, to make sure we are fully staffed and that we have all our I's dotted and our T's crossed concerning inmates, what they're doing at that moment in time, making sure they're locked up, so on and so forth. I don't have to over-explain this. It's literally for your own safety, right? To make sure that everything is in order. Now, they technically can show up unannounced, to which the ICE detention center does have to legally oblige. It'll probably just take a couple minutes to just very quickly allow us to get things situated before we let you in. Now, who does not have the legal authority to show up unannounced is Mayor Baraka of Newark, New Jersey. And that's where the issue lies and where this conflict took place, why this conflict became so overblown, right? Because Baraka essentially snuck in with the congresswomen that came in, that you see in the red jacket, which is McIver, and the other woman in the brown jacket. He essentially snuck in with them. He did not have authority to be there. He could schedule for a request to come in at a particular time when they feel that it's okay for him to show up. But in this moment in time, he was not authorized. Only the two congresswomen. But as you can see, they're coming in, locked in, arm in arm, doing the fake Martin Luther King, "We shall overcome." You can see this right here. They're locked arm in arm. And what happened at this moment is that because he was not authorized, they attempted to arrest Baraka for trespassing, because that's literally what you're doing in this moment. You cannot be in here only the Congresswoman can be in here. And in trying to arrest Mr. Baraka, McIver in the red intentionally obstructed that and got in the way and in the middle of them arresting Mr. Baraka, right? And that's when the melee took place afterwards. A lot of people don't know that, because when you see this photo here and this image here of them walking inside, you're saying, well, all three of them are inside. What's the problem? Mr. Baraka was not supposed to be inside. He essentially snuck in with them and they tried to arrest him. And then that's when McIver decided to act like a moron and get in the way, which created a melee, to which she then started balling up her fists and punching ICE agents. Okay, let's get into this Fox News clip for a little bit more information concerning what I just explained to you, because I think it's important that we have the full context of why and how this happened that led to McIver's charges being dropped on her of assault on a federal agent. So let's get into this next clip from Fox News.
Thanks, Maddie. You know, it's good. So the mayor gets off. The mayor, okay, we're going to leave you alone. They say, according to Alexa, she said investigators told her that McIver blocked police from putting handcuffs on the mayor on the inside of the ICE facility. That is why the agents were forced to wait and handcuff the mayor outside, which was confusing, because I'm thinking to myself, why didn't they take him inside? She's actually stood in the way. So that is, of course, you're going to be charged. How can you block an agent from cuffing the mayor? Or anybody.
18 U.S. Code 111A1, assaulting, resisting, and impeding certain officers. It's very clear. A is very clear. In general, whoever forcibly assaults, resists, opposes, impedes, intimidates, or interferes. Period.
Yep.
It's just that simple.
Alina Hobbit said it can't be overlooked. It is her job to protect law enforcement. And when law enforcement's they have to have the backs of our lawmakers. And so they have to know. That's why so many people didn't want to be police officers, because no one was getting their backs. They were getting blamed for everything. So now you have an administration that wants to back the blue. And why is that a crime? It shouldn't be. They should be safe. They should feel safe to do their jobs.
I also
look at this here. Let me make this full screen. I hope they throw the book at her when she gets found guilty. I really do, because it's just so ignorant. I can't stand this type of ignorance. And then you want to play victim afterwards. Look at what she's doing. Let me turn the volume off on here. Baraka was trespassing. That's just the reality of it, because he was not legally authorized to be there. He was trespassing. McIver literally created a dangerous situation in which, because she was standing in the way and preventing ICE officers from arresting him inside the facility, it then spilled outside. And now look at how she put everyone in jeopardy, everyone's lives at risk, because now you're surrounded by DNC lunatic protesters and you don't know what they're going to do. Now the ICE officers, including the mayor and the congressmen and women, you're surrounded by a bunch of people that you do not know. And at any moment in time, the worst case scenario could happen, because these people are crazy. You created a hostile environment, a hostile situation that put everybody's life in danger, and then had the audacity to ball up your fist and start punching on people. And look at them. They're trying to arrest Mayor Baraka, and look at how she stands in the way. Look at this. Let me just full screen it one more time so you can see it better. I mean, this is insanity. This is complete insanity. Look at this woman. She's acting crazy. She is acting completely ridiculous and out of control. This is out of control. Now, what I want to do next is that I want to pull up the photo. Look, you see where she punched him? You see that? I almost cut away too soon. Let's see that one more time. She's getting ready to punch one of the officers in the back. And that wasn't the first time she did this. Look at this. Boom. You see that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Matter of fact, I forgot. Let me take that back. Very believable. Very believable. As a matter of fact, I want to play another clip of this altercation that just kind of gives us a better view of the punch. Let me pull that for you. Let me pull that up for you guys right now, so we get a better view of the punch, because it's in slow motion. And she did it twice. This wasn't the only part where she did this. She did that 2 times, where she starts swinging her fist like a crazy person. Now let's take a look at this video here. This is completely ridiculous and out of control, to say the very, very least. And I'm going to make it full screen for you guys. Let me do that. You see how she's shoving them? Look at how she's shoving and pushing on them. Did you see that punch? Let me rewind it one more time. Look at that punch. Boom. One more time. Boom. Completely out of control. She's literally physically assaulting these people. She's literally physically assaulting federal agents. How you can cry victim and pretend that that's not the case, boom, is beyond ridiculous. Boom, look at that again. Boom, right in his back. This is open and shut. This is open and shut case. And, I want to take a moment to quickly address, I was going to do this at the end of the video, but I guess I'll do it now. Because I know a lot of people feel a way about the mayor's charges being dropped. I'm not mad at his trespassing charges being dropped. Look, they were misdemeanor charges. He was going to pay no more than a fine after being found guilty. And the reality is this, that mayor, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, he's running for governor. He's running for governor, and he was loving this. Oh, he was hamming it up that he's being persecuted by the Trump administration, and I'm risking my freedom for the people of New Jersey. So vote for me to become your next governor if you want me to fight for you like how I'm battling against the Trump administration. Man, get out of here. I dropped the charges too, bro. You're not worth the time. Nobody even knows who you are. Go away. You're not going to use my name for clout so that you can try to become the next governor of New Jersey. We're not doing that, okay? I would drop the charges too. It's not worth the time. It's not worth the resources and the finances to even follow through just so he can pay a fine and he can walk around New Jersey as if he's some sort of martyr. I get it as far as that's concerned. I get it. And I would drop the charges as well. I agree with that because he's a clown, right? But once again, as it comes to McIver, I mean, that's open and shut. It's open and shut. And especially given the climate that we're in, look at how much political violence that we've seen since Trump has been in office. And it has all, for the most part, exclusively come from DNC lunatics. Come from them repeatedly, whether we're talking about 2 failed assassination attempts on President Trump, whether you're talking about the firebombing of Tesla dealerships, people literally shooting up Tesla dealerships, people literally harassing and destroying Tesla vehicles of random individuals who are not involved in politics. They just happen to have a Tesla. So now you're destroying their personal vehicles. You have situations like this where you're grandstanding at an ICE detention center, obstructing justice, standing in the way of ICE agents arresting Mr. Baraka for trespassing. And now you're balling up your fists and throwing punches. It's not Republicans doing this. It's not conservatives engaging in this. It's literally the same people who were trying to protect you from tyranny that are acting the most tyrannical. So now as we get ready to round things out, what I want to do is this. Let's get into some of the reactions, right? Remember, Hakeem Jeffries was talking real tough. Remember, he talked real tough concerning how, the Trump administration, or I should say the DOJ, better not prosecute, right? And better not come after McIver. Let's listen to that again because it's very comical. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. But let's listen to what he had to say pre the indictment. And then let's see what his response was after the charges were dropped, or not dropped, but were placed on McIver. Let's get into Timu Obama first, though. Let's jump into this right now.
The other day after there was this incident in Newark, you said they better not touch our members.
Correct.
What happens if they were to go and arrest these members, or if they would try to sanction them here in the House of Representatives?
They'll find out.
What would you do, though?
They'll find out.
What recourse? But doesn't that broach a...
They'll find out.
Doesn't that go across...
That's a red line.
What's the red line, though? I know we have this...
It's a red line. It's very clear.
Shut up. They'll find out. They'll find out. Like I said in the last video when I talked about this, bro, in the real world, you'll find out. You'll find out. We know what that means. That means violence. In the real world, that means violence. That's what that means in the real world when you say that. I know he will try to backtrack off that and pretend like that's not what he meant. No. If you were talking about you'll find out in a legal way, you would have been able to explain that in a legal way. He wasn't able to explain it because it's clear as day that this woman put hands on federal ICE agents. And now you're talking about, well, you better not charge them or you'll find out. Okay, so how will we find out? What did Hakeem Jeffries actually have to say? Let's get into that next. I'm going to pull that up for you guys right now. So now here's Hakeem Jeffries. He states House Democratic leadership statement on Trump's attempt to intimidate Congress. Let's get into this very quickly. It's going to be hard to read, but we'll try to get through this. So he stated the criminal charge against Congresswoman LaMonica McIver is extreme, morally bankrupt, and lacks any basis in law or fact. Well, that's clearly a lie because we have the videotape to see that she put hands on him, right? So you're the one that's lying right now. Members of Congress have a constitutional responsibility to conduct oversight of the executive branch wherever and whenever it is needed. We are lawfully permitted to show up at any federal facility unannounced to conduct an inspection on behalf of the American people. By visiting the detention center in Newark, Representative McIver and 2 other members of Congress were upholding their oaths of office. They didn't assault anyone. What? But were themselves aggressively mistreated by illegally masked individuals. I'm not going to play the video again. We've all seen it a million times over. You got to love the spin. You got to love the spin, man. They didn't assault anyone. She's literally balling up her fist and punching the ICE officer in his back. But were themselves aggressively mistreated by illegally masked individuals. You're saying a whole lot of nothing right now. A whole lot of nothing. It's not even worth reading the second half of his statement because it's just foolishness. It's just foolishness. It's literally not worth reading. So I'm not going to bother you with that. You see, but he's not standing on what he stated earlier, right? You'll find out what? You'll find out what? We're going to find out that you're going to put a misleading statement on Twitter. You're going to lie on Twitter. So much for finding out, right? Why don't you really stand on what you meant? But he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. Now let's come into the next goofy. We have Nancy Pelosi right here. Nancy Pelosi came out and said, this baseless, the word baseless. You got to love when DNC lunatics, they get their word of the week and word of the month. It looks like their new word of the month, right, for the next 30 days or maybe even 60 days is going to be baseless, right? This is a word that we have heard Big Tush from New York. That's her favorite word to use as it pertains to the pending federal indictment that may get dropped down on her, that the charges that are looming are baseless. Baseless just simply means that, in my opinion, you don't have enough to convict me, let alone charge me. That's what baseless means. Baseless just simply means your foundation upon which you're charging me on is faulty. They're not denying guilt, right? They're not saying that I'm not guilty of what you said I'm doing. You just don't really have enough to convict me, let alone you barely had enough to charge me. That's all baseless means. That's why they never deny guilt. They just say it's baseless. But I digress. Nancy Pelosi. The baseless charges against Congresswoman LaMonica McIver are nothing more than a political stunt and a brazen attack on the constitutional Article 1 powers of Congress. Congresswoman McIver was conducting a legitimate oversight of an ICE facility as permitted by law. I join my Democratic colleagues in the House in extending my full support to her, blah, 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 blah. The moment she put hands on the ICE officer, you lost. Now let's listen to what McIver, or let's take a read at what McIver had to say, because of course she's crying victim. Representative McIver stated this. Earlier this month, I joined my colleagues to inspect the treatment of ICE detainees at Delaney Hall in my district. We were fulfilling our lawful oversight responsibilities as members of Congress have done many times before, and our visit should have been peaceful and short. Well, it wasn't peaceful and short because you started punching people. Instead, ICE agents created an unnecessary and unsafe confrontation when they chose to arrest Mayor Baraka. They didn't create an unnecessary and unsafe confrontation. You created an unnecessary and unsafe confrontation when you got in the way of ICE officers doing their job and lawfully arresting Mayor Baraka for trespassing. And the moment you stood in between them and Baraka, obstructing justice, you were the one who created an unnecessary and unsafe environment, to which that situation spilled out onto the public sidewalk outside of the ICE facilities, to which now you're surrounded by a bunch of lunatics that are protesting outside of this detention center, and you don't know what they're going to do. You created an unsafe and unnecessary confrontation. These people don't take accountability for anything. It's believable. It's very believable. So she continues to state, the charges against me are purely political. You're on camera. They're not. They mischaracterize and distort my actions and are meant to criminalize and deter legislative oversight. This administration will never stop me from working for, this administration will never stop me from working for the people in our district and standing up for what is right. I am thankful for the outpouring of support and I have received, and I look forward to the truth being laid out clearly in court. You're going to be found guilty, and I hope they throw the book at you. That's what's going to happen. Now, speaking of BNC lunatics, if you remember, AOC was doing a lot of tough talking too, just like Hakeem Jeffries. Let's get into this for those of you who forgot. She was talking tough too, like, oh yeah, you'll find out. You better not place charges on anybody. In case you guys forgot how tough she was talking, let's get into that real quickly. Let's pull this video up.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
What's your response?
We're going to have, if you lay a finger on any of them, we're going to have a problem. She doesn't even know their names because everything with AOC is so theatrical. We're going to have a problem. What's going to be the problem? We saw Hakeem Jeffries didn't really stand on business, as people like to say, right? He just put out a little weak statement, misleading, lying statement. Well, let's see what AOC had to say, right? What is her statement, right? How is this going to be a problem? What are you going to do about it, AOC? Well, if you come to her Twitter page, everybody else has made statements. She's silent. She hasn't said anything. As you can see here, this is her personal Twitter page. The last post that she has on here is a retweet from May 13th. Nothing. All of a sudden, she's silent. All of a sudden, she has nothing to say. Very interesting. Let me refresh the page real quick. Maybe I just need to refresh it. We might be pleasantly surprised. I would like to see her put out a statement, what she has to say. No, nothing. Now let's go to her official House of Representatives Twitter page, and I'll just refresh it. Let me refresh it just in case. Let's see. Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised and she will have made a statement. Nothing. Her last post was 19 hours ago about some victory for Puerto Rico lab workers, blah, 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 blah. Nothing. I've never liked the term opportunist, right? Because, you know, it always kind of just seemed weird to me. Like, well, of course, like, I'm an opportunist because I'm going to take advantage of opportunities, you know, so I've never liked that term opportunist. It's always been a weird term for me, but I do understand it from like the negative sense. And AOC represents every aspect of the negative sense of the word being an opportunist. Everything that she does is theatrical. Everything she does is for her to place herself in position to reach the next level of power, whatever that may be for her. You get what I'm saying? Nothing that this woman does is genuine. You were talking really tough and really brave a few days ago, saying that you better not lay a finger or else there's going to be a problem. Well, she got charges put on her, McIver. You want to make a problem out of it? What are you going to do about it? Do you even have anything to say? Nothing. She doesn't have anything to say. She's silent because everything with this woman is disingenuous and just theatric. She is the epitome of an opportunist when you're looking at it from a negative standpoint. That's exactly who this woman is. Now she's silent on the matter. Silent. But you know who isn't silent is Tom Homan. And as we round this video out, I want to get into what he had to say next. Our man, Tom Homan. It's only right that we listen to what he has to say. So let's get into that clip next as we bring this video to a close.
So today on Capitol Hill, House lawmakers are set to examine threats to ICE operations. It comes as a Democratic Congresswoman faces federal charges. She's accused of assaulting a police officer during the storming of that New Jersey ICE facility earlier this month. Border Czar Tom Homan joins us right now. So Tom, I said initially this was the right call. I'm glad they conducted the investigation. They didn't overcharge, but they didn't undercharge as well. What's your reaction?
Well, I said from day one, you cross that line, we're going to ask for prosecution. You cannot support ICE. You know, shame on you. You can push back against President Trump's immigration agenda. Whatever. You can protest, but you cannot cross that line. You can't knowingly impede a law enforcement officer, ICE officer. It's a crime. You can't knowingly conceal and harbor an illegal alien from ICE. You cannot, commit criminal trespass at our facilities and endanger our employees. And you certainly can't put hands on an ICE agent. So, she's going to have to pay the consequences for doing what she did. She broke the law, and we're going to hold her accountable.
Tom,
and that's all that we want. It's for these people to be held accountable, man. And I just the arrogance of these lunatics, it really drives me crazy. And I'm gonna be so honest with you, man. I hope they throw the book at McIver. I really do. I just cannot stand the arrogance and the spin job you're trying to put on this when you're clearly on video, punching ICE agents and using the full weight of your body in the other clip that we saw where you're just pushing on them, with your stomach and whatnot, attempting to shove these guys to the ground. So with all that being said, man, that does it for today's news. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And also do not forget to follow me. It is really important on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until next video, peace and have a great afternoon.